Shoot, I just lost it. Hang on, this is a big book. This is the 2024 Lionel catalog, and somewhere buried in the back of all of these still available stuff are these blue pages for the Lionel Base3 and the CAB3 app. And I've had a lot of folks asking if I'm gonna get one, and I don't even know because I don't even know when they're gonna come out. Neither does Lionel. Some people are saying spring, summer, Christmas, by the time my son is old enough to drive. Who knows? There are enough theories as to when this system comes out as there are theories as to why it's been delayed for so long. Nobody really seems to know, and everyone claims that they do. But regardless of the truth, it will be out someday, and am I going to get it here, and is it a good thing? Because a lot of folks, this is kind of a polarizing topic because of that app. And I have firsthand experience as to what apps can do with toys, or really with anything that you expect to last a long time, and the industry kind of doesn't want you to. And I'm talking about laser tag. Now hang on. I know a lot of you are watching because of my O-gauge trains, but if you remember, I got my start with a lot of this stuff, and I have quite a bit of expertise with seeing what app development has done to a lot of our beloved toys. So let's get into it. Alright, for those brave enough to continue, I'm going to channel my inner Bazookafied and talk about recoil laser tag. This system was 100% reliant on a cell phone. Even though you got this big old thing, essentially this is just a gigantic carrier for the bits that need to make your phone a laser tag blaster. And you would attach the phone, I'd show you, but I'm using it to film. You would attach the phone to a cradle here on the side, and it would give you your health and all that other stuff, and that's great until it glitched. And that would ruin the game. You'd all have to pretty much start over because the whole system would lock up. The other issue is that when they did get all the glitches figured out with software updates and things like that, this thing was rendered useless when they stopped making the app in general. They just don't offer it anymore. So this thing is a glorified paperweight. Can't even be used for just regular laser tag. You could use it at a sci-fi convention as a prop or something, but that's really about it. The second quick example I want to show you is this Nerf Laser Ops Pro. Now, I know you guys are used to hearing Nerf with dart blasters, but they did try their hand at some laser tag stuff. Some good, some not so good. And this one at least has a leg up on the previous system I mentioned because while it does use a smartphone app to give you lots of cool different abilities and everything, this can still be used in a basic, we'll say, conventional mode. Does that ring a bell to some of you three-railers? Yes, this system, even when the app fails, can still be used on a basic level. But the problem still is this relied on a lot of those features being accessed only through an app and nothing else reverse compatible. So sure, those aren't trains, but the problem is the same. If you don't have a physical remote here to be able to control stuff, then you might be running into problems. I know, I'm moving it for you. Another problem you might not be considering is if there's a problem with the app itself. If you can't control trains and something's going and you need to do an emergency stop, your emergency stop is usually on a remote. If you don't have that ability, then you're going to end up with an accident and you have to, run to the terminal and hit the manual shutoff to stop things. Are you hiding behind my head? Cute. But yeah, without a physical remote, that could be a problem. But thankfully, Lionel has at least thought of this. There is compatibility, not with this old 1995 TMCC controller, but with the legacy CAB3, you should be able to do that. And also, you can still reuse CAB2. On the one hand, my kid interrupted the video. On the other hand, this is a perfect example of if I was filming and he wanted these trains moved, I wouldn't be able to do it because I need the app. Yay, physical remotes. Didn't even mean for that to be relevant. Oh, and if this scares you over here, don't worry, that diesel doesn't have an engine in it. We just like slide them around sometimes. So the app does have some good purposes, and I think it'll be a good entry point for folks in the hobby. If you're just starting out and you don't have a huge control system, but you want to control the couple of engines that you've gotten, as long as they've got Bluetooth control, you'll be able to use that app. Heck, you might even be able to use the Lion Chief Universal Remote. I love this thing, by the way. But Speaking of remotes, I think part of the reason why I like that is it's a physical remote. I don't have to rely on my phone. I'm not worried about glitches, I'm not worried about updates, I'm not worried about longevity. And that's honestly something that I think Lionel might be overlooking slightly, even if their fans may not realize the reason they may not want an app isn't because they don't want to mess with their phone, but I mean, this thing's from 1995. You can't tell me a cell phone's gonna last that long. And in a hobby where a lot of trains are passed down from generation to generation, I see dads running their own father's trains on stuff. I'd like my son to be able to inherit some of my trains so he can run them on his layout with his kids when he's older. You're not going to be able to get that from an app. You're going to be able to get that from a physical remote. So Lionel, if you're listening, I think a lot of folks would be more jazzed about this Base 3 if you didn't rely on using these old remotes. Again, not this one, you need the blue one, but you get the idea. On using these remotes to be able to use these nice new trains. There should be a CAB3 physical remote, and it'll be really cool to see one of those maybe later on. I know the Base 3 is coming out someday, but yeah, you get the idea. I've proven it here. Apps can't be the end-all be-all, and thankfully there's some backwards compatibility built in with the Base 3 to use the older CAB1L and the CAB2 remotes. And I really think that will help the Base 3 take off from there if they can create a CAB3 remote that'll go along with it. But what do you guys think? This has been a highly contested topic for a long time. Have your opinions stayed the same? Have they changed over time? Are you going to get it? I'm still on the fence. So leave me a comment, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks for sticking around. All right, buddy, you want to run some trains?
Hey, Dad, look, a daylight diesel.
A daylight diesel? Cool.
And a Rio Grande one.
Yeah, there's a Rio Grande one too. There's a bunch of them. They're all the heritage units.